Let's be honest. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have a special talent for testing your limits? They interrupt, make sly jokes, or act as if your time and feelings don't matter, and somehow the expectation is that we just take it all with a smile. But not today. If you're tired of being disrespected, this video is for you. I'm going to share straightforward and maybe even bold ways to handle this kind of behavior without losing your composure, and most importantly, without sacrificing your self-respect. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to set clear boundaries. Let's dive in. First point, master the silent stare. Let's start with a technique that might seem simple to some, but is incredibly effective: the silent stare. It might sound like I'm exaggerating, but trust me, when someone is being rude or disrespectful, nothing throws them off more than a calm, steady, and completely unflinching stare. The reason this works is simple. People who disrespect others are usually looking for a reaction. They expect you to get uncomfortable, stumble over your words, or retaliate. What they want is to drag you into their drama, make you doubt yourself, or diminish your confidence. But when you stay silent and maintain a steady gaze, the dynamic shifts entirely. You might think this approach sounds passive-aggressive, but it's quite the opposite. There's something deeply unsettling for a disrespectful person when they realize you're not responding as they expected. By holding your ground with a composed stare, you communicate, without saying a word, that you're not playing their game. It's a way to reclaim control without lifting a finger, without shouting, just by standing firm in your presence. Sometimes the silent stare is the most powerful no you can give. I remember one time I used this technique, and it was unbeatable. I was in a meeting, and this man kept interrupting me as if he had every right to dominate the conversation. You've probably encountered someone like this before. Someone who talks endlessly, expecting everyone to hang on to their brilliant ideas. I tried being polite. I tried cutting in gently, but he wouldn't stop. So I decided to just look at him. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and stared. No blinking, no reaction. I held that gaze for 5 seconds. The silence in the room became heavy, and then the atmosphere shifted. Everyone at the table started looking at him, waiting for him to act. And what happened? He began stuttering, avoided eye contact, and most importantly, didn't interrupt me again. All I did was stare, and it spoke louder than words. This action goes beyond a simple power move. The silent stare is a reminder, for others and for yourself, that you don't have to meet their expectations. You owe no one an emotional reaction. You don't have to prove anything to someone who doesn't see your worth. The silent stare is a way of claiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. When someone disrespects you, the natural tendency is to defend yourself, explain, or let it slide to avoid conflict. But the silent stare isn't about being aggressive. It's about showing that you're centered, unaffected, and in control of your own emotional peace. The impact of the silent stare goes beyond stopping someone's behavior. It reflects accountability. Often, people who disrespect others act that way because they've never faced real consequences. When you silently look at them, you're, in a way, holding up a mirror. They start to see themselves, to face their own behavior, and more often than not, they don't like what they see. You don't have to point out their mistakes or accuse them. You just stand firm. That's the power of the silent stare. Personally, I've found that this technique not only pushes others to reflect, but also strengthens my own self-esteem. When you stay silent and unmoving, you're reminding yourself that someone else's words or actions can't shake you. I used to be the type of person who constantly explained myself, justified my choices, or nervously laughed off rude comments. But that only drained my energy and left me feeling uneasy. Learning to simply look and let the silence fill the space was a game changer. This wordless act is a silent challenge, a declaration of self-respect. Next time someone crosses a line, disrespects you, or tries to make you feel small, try the silent stare. Look firmly, without speaking, and let the weight of your silence fill the moment. You'll see how it unsettles the other person while strengthening your own presence. The silent stare sends a clear message. I respect myself too much to let your negativity affect me, and that's a message worth delivering. Second point, embrace silence as your response. Here's a secret tool, often underrated but incredibly powerful. Silence. When someone disrespects you, one of the most impactful responses is simply not reacting. I know what you might be thinking, but isn't silence passive, almost like accepting the disrespect? The truth is quite the opposite. Silence is not passive, it's a choice, and in many situations, it can be the boldest and most powerful response you can give. When someone tries to pull you into negativity, they want to drag you into their drama, make you feel small or defensive. But when you choose not to engage, when you let their words hang in the air without giving any reaction, you force them to face their own behavior. The silence you choose can be deafening. Here's why it works so well. People who disrespect others usually expect a reaction. They're looking for a fight, an explanation, or some way to justify their behavior. But silence sends a clear message. I'm not investing my time or energy in you. By not engaging, you maintain control of the situation and make it clear that you're not there to fuel their disrespect. Sometimes the most effective way to communicate is to say nothing at all. By doing so, you show that they don't deserve your attention or your words. I remember a time when someone tried to provoke me, the type of person who hides their insults behind jokes disguised as harmless humor. This person made an unnecessary comment about my work, clearly intending to get under my skin. Normally, I would have tried to explain myself or maybe even fired back with a sharp remark, but in that moment, I decided to simply look at them, raise an eyebrow, and stay completely silent. I left their words hanging in the air, letting them feel the weight of the silence. And you know what happened? They became flustered, looked down, and mumbled something incoherent before moving on. That was the last time they tried to provoke me. Once they realized I wouldn't react, they understood there was nothing to gain from their disrespect. That's the power of silence. It strips the situation of its power by depriving the disrespect of the attention it craves. Here's the key. When you choose silence, you're choosing to protect yourself. You're saying, I value my peace more than your opinion of me. And trust me, that's not just empowering, it's transformative. Too often we feel pressured to respond, defend ourselves, justify our choices, or prove our worth to people who don't even deserve an explanation. By embracing silence, you refuse to play by their rules. You take a stand without making a move, making it clear, you're not worth my words. It's not about controlling the situation, but about conserving your energy. Silence acts as a filter, shielding your peace and blocking the negativity others try to project onto you. When you finally stop feeling the need to respond to every rude comment or passive-aggressive jab, you free yourself. You stop giving people access to your inner world and start living on your own terms. I'll admit, learning to use silence wasn't easy for me. I used to think that if I didn't defend myself, I'd seem weak or passive. But over time, I noticed something interesting. Whenever I tried to defend my point of view to someone who disrespected me, I'd end up feeling drained and frustrated. But when I stayed calm and let their rude comments pass like background noise, I felt lighter, stronger, and more in control. It was like I reclaimed my energy every time I chose silence over reacting. Now here's my challenge for you. The next time someone disrespects you, pause, take a deep breath, look them in the eye, and don't say a word. Let your silence speak for you. You'll be surprised by the discomfort it creates in the other person and the sense of freedom you'll feel by taking this approach. Embrace silence as your response, because often what you don't say is the most powerful statement of all. Another important point, stop justifying your decisions. This might be challenging for many of us. Stop justifying your decisions. How many times have you made a choice for yourself only for someone to immediately start asking, why? Why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why did you choose that path? Many people seem to think they're entitled to an explanation for everything you do. But here's the truth. They're not. Your choices are yours alone, and you don't owe anyone an explanation about how you live your life. It might sound controversial, but the reality is that when someone questions your decisions, it's often not out of curiosity or understanding, but judgment. These people are usually looking for reasons to make you doubt yourself or to feel better about their own decisions by trying to make you question yours. The best part, you don't have to play that game. When you stop justifying yourself, you take back control of your life and make it clear that your choices aren't up for debate. When people question your decisions, it's often because your choice challenges their worldview. Maybe you're taking a risk they're too afraid to take, or you've chosen something they didn't expect. Your independence or willingness to do things your way can unsettle them, and their request for explanations is often a way to try to pull you back into their comfort zone. But here's the crucial point. Just because they're uncomfortable with your choice doesn't mean you have to ease their discomfort. Your life is not a performance, and you don't have to justify your decisions to anyone. I remember a time when I decided to switch careers, leaving a stable job for something I was passionate about, but that carried more risk. As soon as people found out, it felt like I had announced I was moving to another planet. I was bombarded with questions. Why would you leave a secure job? And how are you going to make this work? At first, I tried to explain, talking about how I wanted more fulfillment and had a plan. But no matter how much I explained, it was never enough. The more I justified myself, the more people questioned me, looking for flaws to make me doubt my choice. One day I tried something different. When someone asked, "Why leave that job?" I simply said, "Because I wanted to." No long explanation, no extra details. The reaction was amazing. The silence that followed said it all. People didn't know how to respond because I had taken away their power to question my decision. And guess what? They stopped asking. The real beauty of not needing to justify your choices is the freedom it brings. When you stop giving explanations, you assert your truth and understand that your decisions are valid simply because you made them. By refusing to justify your actions, you start living more authentically, free from the weight of others' expectations. You stop wasting energy trying to convince people of anything and instead use that energy to live the life you want. Here's the lesson. Your life doesn't need an audience's approval. Not all of your decisions need to be discussed or validated. And when you stop explaining, you're telling people, "I trust my choices." Think about it. When was the last time you saw someone truly confident explaining their decisions to others? Probably never, because people who are in control of their lives don't need external validation. They know that the only approval that matters is their own. I've been in that position myself. I used to feel the need to provide detailed explanations to justify my choices, hoping for acceptance. Over time, I realized that doing this only made me doubt my decisions. So I made a change. If someone asked me about a decision, I would answer briefly, maybe with a sentence or two. If they pushed further, I'd smile and move on. And what happened? Life became so much lighter. The less I explained myself, the more confident I felt in my decisions. Here's a challenge for you. The next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to explain. Respond with something simple like, "Because I wanted to," or "It felt right for me," and let the silence speak for itself. Notice how powerful this simple statement can be. You'll feel stronger, more in control, and at peace with yourself. And best of all, you'll realize that your choices don't need anyone's approval. They're valid simply because you made them. Fourth point, step away when necessary. Let's be honest. Sometimes the best way to deal with people who don't respect you is simply to step away. It might sound harsh or even a little cold, but the truth is, not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. If someone consistently disrespects you, one of the healthiest steps you can take is to give yourself some space. This doesn't mean you hate them or are being overly dramatic. It means you respect yourself enough to protect your energy. Keeping your distance isn't about being rude or ignoring people. It's about choosing where and with whom to invest your time and energy. Think of your life as an exclusive club. Not everyone gets a VIP pass. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, makes you feel small, or spreads negativity, why keep them around? It's okay to step away. In fact, it might be necessary. That space can give you clarity, allowing you to see the situation without emotional manipulation or guilt weighing you down. When you keep people in your life who continually disrespect you, you're essentially giving them a free pass to criticize and judge you as they please. Then you wonder why you feel drained or anxious. Taking a step back is an act of self-preservation. It protects your mental health, safeguards your peace of mind, and creates room for those who truly respect and uplift you. Let go of the guilt about stepping away. You're not obligated to keep people in your life who don't respect you. Here's an example. I had a friend who constantly made negative comments about my choices, my career, my relationships, even the music I liked. At first I thought, that's just how they are, or maybe I'm overreacting. So I stuck with the friendship, brushing it off as unimportant. But over time, those small criticisms started to really bother me. I realized I was always on edge, bracing for the next hurtful comment. One day I decided to do something different. I didn't confront them, but I began limiting my time with them. If we used to meet weekly, now it was once a month. And what happened? I felt lighter, freer. With distance, I saw how toxic that friendship had been. That space helped me realize I deserved relationships that lifted me up, not tore me down. Some might call stepping away selfish. They'll say, but they're family, or you've been friends for years. It can feel uncomfortable, even taboo, to admit that someone important to you isn't good for you. Society teaches us to be loyal, to forgive, to be kind, but at what cost? Here's the truth. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's essential. You're not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag or constant source of validation. Sometimes the strongest way to show you've had enough is by walking away. Stepping away is also a powerful way to prioritize yourself. You're not obligated to play the role others assign to you. No one has the right to unrestricted access to your mind, your time, or your emotions. When you put distance between yourself and those who disrespect you, you're making a statement. Your well-being comes first. That's not just self-care, it's self-respect. Distance also allows you to focus on the relationships that truly matter, the ones that help you grow. The more time you spend with people who respect you, the more confident and fulfilled you feel. The less time you spend with those who bring you down, the less influence they have over your thoughts, mood, and life. I used to feel incredibly guilty about stepping away from people who didn't treat me well. I'd think, what if they think I don't care? Or, am I overreacting? But over time, I realized that stepping away wasn't just about removing negativity. It was about making room for my own growth. When I began distancing myself from disrespectful people, I felt a sense of freedom. My energy returned, my inner peace was restored, and I became much clearer about who I wanted in my life. Now here's my challenge to you. Reflect on the people in your life who consistently disrespect you, who make you feel small or drained. Ask yourself, do they really deserve that much access to you? 5. Stand tall. Let's talk about something simple yet incredibly powerful. Standing tall. It might sound like basic advice, but it holds significant weight when dealing with people who don't respect you. When someone tries to belittle you, their goal is often to make you feel small and insecure, to get you to avoid eye contact or even shrink into yourself. But by standing tall and maintaining a confident posture, you're sending a silent message. I know my worth, and nothing you say or do will make me doubt it. This small action carries immense power because confidence often throws off those who try to bring us down. These people assume they have control, that their words or actions can shake your self-assurance. When you stand tall, you show them otherwise. You prove their disrespect has no impact on you, and that makes you unshakable. It leaves them unsure of their power over you, exposing their own insecurity. I once dealt with someone who loved to make sarcastic, cutting comments whenever we met. You know the type, someone who disguises insults as jokes with a smile. For a while I tried ignoring it, but it only made me feel worse. Then I decided to change my approach. I stood tall, made eye contact, and smiled while completely brushing off their behavior. The shift was instant. They began to pull back, unsure of how to react now that their jabs no longer affected me. Standing tall creates an aura of confidence, as if you're silently declaring, I'm strong, and I'm above this. For those trying to disrespect you, this is unsettling. They want you to feel inferior, but when you walk with confidence, you dismantle their narrative. It forces them to question their own influence, something they may not be prepared to face. The key is that standing tall isn't about them, it's about you. It's a way to affirm your self-worth, to remind yourself that you don't need anyone else's validation to feel complete. It's a daily act of self-respect that strengthens your inner resolve and protects your peace of mind. Here's the truth. Self-esteem isn't built from the outside in. It comes from within. What others think or say about you doesn't define you. Standing tall is your way of staying in control of your own story, ensuring that no one can take that power from you. The more you embody this, the less their disrespect can influence your life. This wasn't something I learned overnight. I was once the person who avoided eye contact, who shrank back at criticism, thinking it was safer to disappear. But gradually I realized that every time I stood tall, refusing to let negativity affect me, I felt stronger. It became a constant reminder that I didn't need anyone else's approval to feel good about myself. Standing tall goes beyond physical posture. It's a mindset. It's walking into any room with the belief that you belong there. Don't shrink yourself to fit into someone else's expectations. When someone tries to disrespect you, let it pass. They're merely projecting their own insecurities, and you don't need to carry that. So here's my challenge to you. The next time someone disrespects you, don't react. Breathe, straighten up, look them in the eye, and stand firm. Not only will this make you feel more confident, but it will also send a clear message. I'm bigger than this. Standing tall is more than good posture. It's a silent declaration of self-respect. It says, I know who I am, and nothing can change that. At the end of the day, it all starts with respecting yourself. The more you honor your worth, the clearer it becomes, and the less space there is for others' disrespect to influence your life. Stand firm, recognize your value, and remember, you deserve all the confidence you can muster. And that's the essence of dealing with those who don't, and perhaps never will, understand your value. Life is too short to waste on trying to please those who fail to see your greatness. You don't need anyone's permission to stand tall, protect your inner peace, and live life on your terms. People will try to tear you down, push your limits, and question your choices. But the real question is, what kind of energy will you allow into your life? The best part is that as you focus on self-respect, you'll begin to attract people who truly value and support you. Those who help you grow instead of trying to bring you down. It all starts with you, deciding to own your power and letting everything else align as you become stronger. So stand tall, keep your head high, and when needed, step away in silence, never apologizing for taking care of what matters most to your peace of mind. 6th point, practice authenticity. It's time to talk about one of the most powerful qualities you can cultivate, being authentic. In today's world, where other people's expectations often try to shape us, staying true to yourself can feel like an act of rebellion. But trust me, this is one of the most effective ways to shield yourself from disrespect and stay true to who you really are. Authenticity isn't just about being honest with others. It's primarily about being honest with yourself. It's about living in alignment with your values and beliefs, no matter how the world around you reacts. This means that even when you face disrespect or criticism, you stay on your path. You stand firm in your truth, and that consistency in character has the power to repel those who seek to undermine you. I remember a time when I found myself in a social setting, trying to fit into a version of myself that wasn't real. I was seeking approval, trying to be what others expected, and in the end, I felt empty and frustrated. That's when it hit me. To handle disrespect and those who try to put me down, I first needed to respect myself. And that starts with authenticity. When I stopped worrying about pleasing others and focused on being true to what I believed, my confidence skyrocketed. Most importantly, I began to attract people who respected me for exactly who I am. When you allow yourself to be authentic, you become more resistant to disrespect because, deep down, you know that others' opinions can't shake your identity. Disrespectful people often look for weaknesses or vulnerabilities. They may hope to see you hide behind a facade or conform to please them. But when you show up as your authentic self, you become unbreakable. You're telling the world, this is who I am, and if you can't see my worth, that's fine. I won't change to please you. Disrespectful individuals usually don't know how to handle genuine authenticity. They're used to dealing with people who bend, who aim to please, who hide behind a mask. But when you remain true to yourself, it disarms any attempt at manipulation or control. They might still throw out harmful words, but none of it can take away the peace you've earned from knowing who you are. and what you stand for. It's important to remember that being authentic doesn't mean being arrogant or insensitive to others' feelings. It's about being transparent and true to yourself without bowing to the fear of being judged. When you operate from a place of truth, it becomes much harder for anyone to make you feel less than. You might distance yourself from people who don't respect you, but always with the confidence that you're doing it to preserve your authenticity. The beauty of living authentically is that it makes you immune to the impact of disrespectful words or actions. When you are fully aware of your worth, criticism and disrespect become mere background noise. They can't touch your core. Instead of worrying about what others think, you can focus your energy on becoming the best version of yourself. So here's the challenge. Start asking yourself every day if you're being true to yourself. If you feel like you're bending too much to please others, stop, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, does this reflect who I really am? If the answer is no, reclaim your authenticity. Allow yourself to be you, unapologetically. This is the path to protecting yourself from disrespect and living with the confidence that your greatest validation comes from within. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video inspiring, give it a like and subscribe for more tips on living a more authentic and fulfilling life. Share it with someone who might need a reminder to stay true to themselves. And of course, I'd love to hear your story about how authenticity has made a difference in your life. Drop a comment below. Until next time, stay true to who you are, and remember, true freedom comes from being authentic.